So with us right now is Karen Hendrix. Her daughter went missing, I believe it was on January 6th of this year, and her name is Becky Hendrix, and she went missing in New Orleans, right?
Right.
Maybe you can tell us a little bit about her.
Well, Becky is 43. She'll be 44 next month. She's got two kids, a 12-year-old daughter and a 23-year-old son. Becky's been, I would say the last 5 years that I can think of, has been a stay-at-home mom with her daughter because she needed more attention with her. She had a lot going on with her this year. In March, she was diagnosed with breast cancer. She had a double mastectomy. She lost her dad in August, her niece in November, I believe. Anniversary was coming up around that time for another niece that had passed away. And then she was facing the possibility of having uterine cancer. So, plus she went through a divorce from her daughter's dad, and was kind of rough for her. And another relationship that she thought was going well, she was kicked aside from that, and she's had a rough year.
Yeah, I was reading in one of the articles you were saying it was kind of a dark she was in a dark place. Do you think that led her to some behavior that might have got her in trouble, do you think? Or
I think, Becky was wanting someone to love her. And with the divorce and the other breakup, I think she bought what he was selling. Oh, you're sweet, how you can be sweet talked, and she's naive. And even being 43, she's naive because she's never been out on her own alone, having to face the world alone. And I believe she bought into it because she was just having a hard time dealing with everything.
yeah, so what do you think? Well, there's an interesting connection here because apparently we've covered on this case. There's another sort of a disturbing case, to put it mildly, with Benjamin Beale and a woman named Julia Dardar. And I think, she was murdered last, I don't know if it was in like late last year or early this year, right?
Yeah, they don't. I spoke with her husband. They don't know the definite date because of how she was found, but it was either the end of the year or the first of the year. But he believes it was around the end of December.
So where was she living at the time she went missing? Referring to Becky.
Becky was living in Mid-City with this man. His nickname, I reckon you'd call it, since I don't want to say his real name, his nickname is Tricky Albert.
Okay.
How she met him, I don't know. When exactly she met him, I don't know. I have from her friends text messages that she received from Becky. I know it's as early as the end of November that she had met him. She knew him then.
And it's really not that far away from where Benjamin Beale lived geographically, right?
Right. It's pretty much the same area. I mean, how many miles apart, I don't know, but the same, like you said, geographical area.
Yeah, and he lived at 2327 Pauline Street. You probably have the address. Maybe you could give me that later, but of where your daughter was living, I'm sure. Right?
It was on Iberville Street.
Yeah.
City.
So what is the so I mean, at the time, was she working and trying to live a normal life, or was just all that other stuff so overwhelming that she just kind of was doing things she normally wouldn't do?
Yeah, she was trying to get work. She needed an address. So to get a job, you got to have addresses and everything. And she had that, and she was looking for a job, but she was also doing like, not Uber, were you DoorDash or something like that? One of those, some part-time work. to pick up some money. And I've sent her some money this past December and January.
Yeah. So when was the last time you remember communicating with her?
Becky's favorite way of talking with people is text message. But the last time I heard from her was on this January the 6th. I had sent her some money, and that was the last day she was heard from.
Okay. Now, what? Maybe you can talk to us about what the connection is between Benjamin Beale and your daughter.
The man she was staying with or living with is friends of his. They have a band together. I'm not sure if Bill was in the band, but they all practice together. One way that I can say that how they knew that I know they knew each other was that Julia's husband used to be friends with that group until he broke away after seeing what they were like. Julia went back, but he said that they knew each other and how different they were and how they acted.
And so what I know that police are investigating it because I've seen it in articles that it's possibly related, her disappearance in some way. But why, what kinds of things are out there that make you believe it might be related? Just that.
Well, Becky,
whatever you can say.
yeah, I'm trying to think. I'm sorry, I thought I had this in my head and my mind's gone blank. Well, just from knowing that they were associated with phone numbers and with Mr. Dardar saying that, and Becky knew the guy she was, of course, she knew she was staying with, but Becky had sent several different text messages to her friends saying that she afraid for her life. And with his having done that to Julia, they being friends, that's what kind of makes me worried about that.
And she went missing after the Julia Dardar murder, right?
Yeah, like Julia, sometime the end of December, she went missing, and Becky went missing January the 6th.
Okay, yeah, so it was...
and that was before Bill was arrested. So Bill was, if I looked right, Bill was arrested around the 11th or 13th, something like that, and Becky went missing on the 6th.
Yeah, so it makes you wonder if she maybe knew something or was aware.
That's what I'm afraid of, because like I said, she knew Tricky Albert as early as November the 21st, and she sent on that night she sent an email, a text message, whatever, to one of her friends. If I die tonight, it won't be my fault. I'm in a looking kind of shady situation. On the 30th, around the 30th, she sent another text message to another friend. I almost left the other day. He scares me when he gets angry and he gets frustrated with me. Also, the lifestyle is questionable, especially for me. And then on the 1st, the last text message from one of her friends, will you say a prayer for me? Fear I'm not in a good situation, and I'm kind of scared and don't know what to do. And that's after Julia was murdered. And I'm afraid that Becky heard them talking or saw something that they figure she's a big risk, and they got rid of her.
Oh, man.
I mean, it's obvious she was scared for her life. I don't know if she couldn't leave or what.
Can you read it again, that last message? I don't mean to put you through it again, but the one that you were just reading.
The last one she sent, will you say a prayer for me? I fear I'm not in a good situation and kind of scared and don't know what to do.
Wow. And December 23rd was when Dardar was reported missing by her estranged husband, it says in an article. So this is the 6th, so it's right around within a 2-week period. Yeah. And do you have any other text messages, maybe leading up to that were similar, or?
No, that's all that her friends, because I've asked them all go back on their messages to see if they could find anything that sounded different or wrong. But these are the only 3 that I've gotten so far.
Okay, so these are messages she sent to other friends, not you specifically. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, probably didn't want to make you worried. So I was talking to some of her good friends, and be interesting to see how they replied or what was going.
The only one that I was able to get the reply to her was the one that he scares me when he gets angry. She told him that her friend told Becky that to follow her gut instinct, I believe is what she put, to follow her gut instinct, and if she doesn't feel right, to get out. And that was on the 30th, around the 30th.
The 30th of...
or not, I don't know.
Of December, right?
Right.
So now we're talking just a week after Dardar went missing. So it does feel like there's some kind of connection, especially since the individual she was with was, or is friends with Beale, and he's the one that's responsible for the missing Dardar. Huh. Man, that's pretty startling. What are the police telling you? Not that you can tell me, something that's...
Right. Well, right now, all I know is that they searching Bayou St. John with sonar and divers to look for her car, because her car has not been seen on police camera since January the 6th, and there was 2 people in the car at that time, but and I didn't see the picture of it. You couldn't make out if it's man or woman in the passenger seat, but
where was the vehicle spotted?
On Claiborne Avenue in Mid-City.
Claiborne Avenue?
Yeah.
And what time of night was it? Or was it at night or just middle of the day? Or?
I don't think they told me, and I keep forgetting to ask them that.
Well, in the image, did it appear to be light outside or was it dark?
No, it did look light outside.
Okay. So...
I know at 8 a.m. her car was seen going by highway cameras going 110 westbound at 8 a.m. So it was after that sometime. And then it was next seen at, I'm not sure what time, on Claiborne Avenue, which is going towards to where she was staying in that area.
And the vehicle hasn't been found since?
No, it hasn't. Nowhere. I mean, I know they tell me New Orleans has a lot of shady tow truck drivers if it got pulled. I mean, towed away. They said they'll take stuff out, dump it, and cut the car up. And, if someone would just let us know give a tip. I mean, you don't even have to give your name. Just give a tip if someone has seen her or if they towed her and found it, just so me and her children can know, her siblings.
Yeah, just anybody out there, if you know something, say something. So the vehicle, what about her phone? Were they able to ping it in different locations, or was her phone?
Yeah, they did ping it, but either it was turned off or dead. Becky is not going to go anywhere without a charger in her car to keep her phone charged, because that is her right hand. She cannot survive without a telephone.
That's pretty common these days. I mean, it sounds like that's how she communicated too, just text. So she wouldn't go anywhere without it, really, right?
Right.
And they haven't been able to have they found the phone? Or
no, I have not found the phone or the car.
Do you know where the phone last pinged? Do they have that information?
In Mid-City.
So it was actually moving, like, when you say Mid-City, does that actually mean Mid-City, or is that a place?
That's a little... You know more about New Orleans than I do, because I never here, and I've lived across the lake, and I didn't go unless I had to.
Well, listen, I live in Oregon, okay, so I don't live.
It's around the French.
Okay.
It's. Oh gosh, what is that?
I'll look it up. It's probably a place called Mid-City, right?
Yeah.
Or is it literally Mid-City, like a directional, like You
I
know,
think it's the name of the city.
okay.
I mean, part this little territory of the city.
Yeah, let me open up. Let me just type it in, like Mid City. I actually have a map here. Mid City. Yeah, there it is. Mid Dash City. So it's pretty close to Iberville Street. So it might have just pinged at the house, actually.
Right, it could have been,
there.
but that was the last place it was pinged at.
Okay. So you have that information, and then it just all of a sudden it went blank, like somebody turned it off. Her car's missing, and she's missing,
Right.
and her phone's missing, and basically,
And she was afraid for over a month.
so she was even afraid prior to. Well, when did Dardar actually? She was reported missing on the 23rd,
Right.
but like when was she actually missing? You know what I mean? Like, I mean, she could have been missing a month before that, right? You know, because they.
Oh, I wish I had my phone.
That's right, because she was reported missing on the 23rd by the estranged husband, but maybe he just after a couple weeks or 3 weeks was like, hey, you know, I need to call this in, right? We don't really
Yeah,
know.
he told me when. Let me see if I can find it real quick. 12:10, I think, was the last time he actually saw her.
12:10, okay. And then when you say a month, is that just a rough time, or is there literally some, she was fearing clear back in like early, like December 5th or something? You know, your daughter. You said she was scared for about a month.
The first text message that I got from one of her friends was dated November the 21st.
Oh, so it was even a little bit before that.
Yeah.
So I wonder if there's other
If
stuff going
something
on.
was going on then that made her, with Julia, that made her afraid. I don't know, you know.
Yeah, it kind of makes you wonder if Beale and maybe this other guy were into something that was shady, and both of them witnessed what they were doing. Perhaps.
That's what I'm afraid of.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, that they found out something or heard something that they shouldn't have, and they had to.
Yeah, well, I hope that's not what happened, but.
I hope not to. But Becky would have called her daughter and her son by now.
Yeah, it sounds like it. At least send a text message, right? I mean,
She
see what it's been. It sounds like, I mean, I know people like that. I mean, you get like 97 text messages in a row. Yeah, but it's like, why don't you just call? It takes less time.
That's what I say. I agree with you. Thank you.
That's I tell that to people now. It's like, why don't you just, we're texting back and forth. It takes it, like, for me, I'm not one of those quick texters too, right? Like,
Yeah.
you know, you see these other people like, I'm like, ding, ding.
Welcome
ding,
to
ding.
my world.
Yeah, like it's hard to type a 2-paragraph statement. It takes 10 minutes. So if you just picked the phone up, I could have said it in 1 second. I mean, 10
Right.
seconds, right?
But she liked texting. That
Yeah.
was her communication of choice.
Yeah, it's pretty common. So what else do you have that you can share?
They said they have some things going on. I asked them not to tell me too much so I wouldn't get my hopes up too much and say something I shouldn't, because whoever, whether he's in with it or not, whoever it is, I want them found and prosecuted, and I can't let anything intentionally slip. So I ask them not to tell me too much. But they keep me updated, you know. They're going to finish up the search on the bayou tomorrow, weather permitting, in New Orleans. I don't know what it's going to be like, but they're going to finish that up because there's one section that they still have to check.
Have they been able to follow the pinging of the guy she was with? He was probably, but you would think if they turned her phone off, they would know to not have theirs on as well, right?
Right. They didn't tell me anything about that.
Well, hopefully he had one of those newer kind of cars, because there's all kinds of this technology nobody knew about. It's crazy.
No, she doesn't. Her car is a 2012 Toyota Highlander, and it didn't have any tracking device in it.
Nothing.
No.
Yeah, now they have ones that tell you what time a window was rolled down, what time a door was open. I mean, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, mine does that. I let her use it one time, and I knew exactly where she was at, so she couldn't lie to me. But
Yeah. So
but I mean, a car can't just disappear. Someone out there's got to have a heart to at least call in uh, a
tip.
tip.
Yeah.
You know, they don't have to identify themselves. Just call in so we know where she's at or where we can find her. I mean, someone knows something out there
Well, what's leading them to search where they're searching?
because it's close to the area where she was staying.
Okay, so they're just looking in the waterways near there.
Unless they have information that they didn't share with me. That's what I was told because it's in the area.
Yeah, and also they've probably checked cameras all over the place and they can't find it leaving a general area.
Right.
General area, right?
Right.
Okay. Do you happen to have the phone number that people can call?
Yes, it is area code 504-658-6010.
And who would they be contacting when they call that?
That is the New Orleans Police Department, 1st District Detectives.
Okay. Excellent.
And if someone would please just let us know. Her kids need to know. We all need to know. I mean, she's got to be out there somewhere.
Yeah. What's going on with the kids right now?
They Austin, the 23-year-old, he's trying to work. He is out of town last week just to get away because he's worried about his mom and he knows there's nothing he can do. But it's hard on him. Hannah, her 12-year-old, is taking it really hard. She was getting her dad told me that she was getting everything her mom gave her together so she'd have it all together. But someone's got to know something for these kids if no one else.
Yeah, man, I feel.
He's only 12.
Yeah, it's a nightmare, and I'm sorry you're having to go through this. It's
Well, I just want someone to please
terrible.
just say something. I mean, I know someone out there. I mean, there's enough drug addicts in that area that could at least give a tip. You know, you give tips on everything else. Just give this one tip so these children can get their mother back.
Yeah, so anybody out there, if you know anything about it at all, somebody knows something. There's no doubt about it. And you need to call the number that was just given to you a minute ago, and I'll just put it on the screen so it's there the entire time. All right.
Okay.
So, but listen, you're also welcome to come back on whenever you want to. If you hear something else and you want to come back on, is there anything else that you think you might be able to share? Just anything?
Gosh, not really, not right now. I'm waiting for the sergeant to call me to give me an update. And if there's anything, I'll let you know. I'll be glad to call you and let you know.
Okay. How long was she living with that guy?
I don't know. I mean, there's a lot I'm not knowing, what Becky was doing.
Yeah.
I know she was staying with my cousin at some point in Pearl River, which is north of the lake, and she went back over there, and that after Thanksgiving, so maybe a month.
Maybe about a month. And she was just going through so many tragic events. And was
it's
just
been hard on her.
And
she suffers from depression anyway. And if he told her the right thing, I don't know.
Yeah, she was probably just wanted to feel good in some way.
Somebody to care for.
And if somebody said, said smooth talk her, she'd probably be more
smooth
willing.
talker. That's a good.
Yeah, she'd probably be more willing to listen to it because she needed to hear stuff like that, right?
She did. She really did. Felt like she needed to hear that, and I told her, don't ever buy into it. They lie. But she wanted someone there to care for her, just her, and
Yeah, I would say one of the keys, just for anybody, is to be really happy alone. Like, learn to be alone and feel really comfortable being alone, and that's when you might meet the right person. Because then it's like you don't need anything. You're not, you're confident. And
Right.
then you'll probably attract the right type of person, I would think.
Right.
I
And
mean, that's
several of her friends have tried to get her to come stay with them, but she didn't want to be a bother, you know.
Yeah. Man. Well, I hope you get some answers soon. Sounds like they're working it. And I'm sure they have suspects in mind, you know.
I hope they get some soon because I have my own suspects. And I just, if it's not the one I'm thinking of, I want to be proved wrong.
Yeah.
You know, I just want to get her back.
Yeah. Well, hopefully somebody out there can send in a tip that would lead to just that. Like I said, I'll put the number on the screen, and anybody out there that knows anything, call the number. All right. And well, I really appreciate you coming on. I mean, I'm sorry you're having to go through this, but I appreciate you coming on and telling your daughter's story. And hopefully we can help out in finding Becky soon.
I hope so. Thank you so much because Becky is such a good person. She's just, I'm afraid, got mixed up with the wrong crowd, and I'm just hoping she's on the beach somewhere having fun and don't realize we're looking for her. But she would, even if she was doing that, she'd still call her daughter and talk to her.
Yeah, exactly. So, well, if you need anything at all, or you need to say some more things, we'll do the same thing again and put that out there.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, I appreciate it so much. You know, someone gave me your name and email address, and I appreciate them for doing that. I wish I could remember who it was, but I don't. But I do. I want them to know I appreciate them sending that to me, and thank you so much for this. And hopefully, this will be the one that the right person will see it and call with a tip.